Welcome. Joining us today in our studio is a very special guest. He's at the top of administration in AUS. He's been with AUS for almost 2 years now, and ever since, AUS has been constantly welcoming new changes. And today, we're going to talk about a few of those changes. We're welcoming Chancellor Peter Heath. Thank you for joining us today. We're very happy to have you here with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
I understand you have a very busy schedule, so taking time out for us we really appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure, and you know, this is an educational institution, so I'm quite happy to talk to students.
Thank you very much. So what we'd like to know from the beginning is, how has your journey been so far at AUS?
Well, I had high expectations of AUS, and I'm pleased to say that really all my expectations have been met. When I came and first visited AUS, I saw enormous potential. Mm-hmm. I also saw enormous achievements. I mean, I don't think that many people who are within AUS realize what an amazing story it has been over the past 12 years. Mm-hmm. Just to give you one example, I think in 2006, the president or the chancellor of AUS joined the chancellors of AUB, which is 140 years old, and the chancellor of AUC, which is about 95 years old, to visit Washington. And these were the three American institutions that were representing American institutions in the Middle East. So within 9 or 8 years, AUS was already being mentioned with AUC and AUB.
That's remarkable progress.
Yes.
And like, what's going to come up is the technology park, and we're very excited about it. But there is still a lot of ambiguity surrounding it. We want to know more about it in terms of planning. What stage are we at right now?
Okay, the technology park, the area of the technology park is going to be located in where the military park currently is, at least a good portion of that. It's about 177 hectares worth of land. Wow. To give you an example, the total area that AUS sits on is about 140 hectares. Okay. So it's an area that's even bigger than AUS. It was a donation by His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, and the reason he did it was two things. One was part of his conception of the mission of AUS, which is to provide a source of interaction between the knowledge that a university has and the economic activity that Sharjah has and UAE has. So he wanted this interaction. And second, he wanted to bring and attract to Sharjah the kind of company that is going to increase the technological level of industry in Sharjah. Sharjah has about 40% of the UAE's industry, but much of it is low-level manufacturing or light manufacturing, and he wanted to bring in a high-tech element.
So what kind of companies are we looking to bring in?
Well, in terms of sectors, the big sectors in the UAE are energy, both traditional and sustainable. All right. There's a lot of, as you've noticed, a lot of transportation, goods moving in and out of AUS. There's a great need for training, for HR training in various specified industries. All right. This came up, for example, with Air Arabia, who mentioned that one of their big priorities is training their staff in the specialities needed. Construction is a big industry, so that involves materials sciences and testing different kinds of concrete or aluminum and seeing how that works. Right. So these are, and then there's such high-tech industries coming up in Abu Dhabi as aeronautics, microchip manufacturing, aluminium again. So these are some of the areas that the UAE is focusing on, and that I think, will be focusing on in the technology park.
Okay, that's great. I know AUS is trying to make its transition into a research university. How's the process been so far?
Well, I think the process in terms of the willingness of faculty to be involved in research, along with maintaining their commitment to teaching, has been strong. I look at it partly as not an aspiration only, but as a change in structure. And part of that is the efforts of faculty to be involved in research, involve their students in research. But the important stage we're at now is actually providing a structure, a financial structure for the university that allows the university to support faculty in what they're doing. Right now, faculty are teaching, in general, 3 courses a semester. At research universities, faculty teach 2 courses a semester.
Okay.
So in some sense, we would have to find the economic resources to provide release time for faculty. In some sense, we will have to increase faculty size by 30%. And that is a significant amount of money, so I've been spending a lot of my time fundraising.
All right. Well, good luck with that. We hope to make that transition.
Yes.
We're looking for a new CAS dean, and how has the search been so far?
Well, the search, I think, has been a learning experience for the new provost and also a learning experience for the committee. This is really a crucial appointment.
Definitely.
CAS is the one school or college that still is unfolding in its potential. And your department, MCM, is a good example. The whole question of should it be a department, should it be an independent school, is something that the new dean will have to answer.
Okay.
We've been following strictly procedures. So at this point, we're waiting for the committee to form a consensus about the candidates that have come in and that they've talked to. And once there's a consensus, and once the provost and I am satisfied with the choice, then we'll present it to the Board of Trustees.
All right.
So in terms of process, it's going very well. In terms of finding the right person, we may be near to that decision.
Okay. I believe one of the reasons why it's been hard to attract prominent faculty is because AUS does not offer tenure.
Yes.
Is that a hurdle? Are we doing something about it administration-wise to overcome that barrier?
Well, in terms of talking specifically about tenure as it's understood in the U.S., we're not talking about that now.
Okay.
I think if we're going to, as we move closer towards becoming a research university, this is certainly going to be one issue that comes up. We're very successful at attracting faculty who are young and have just completed their PhDs. We're fairly competitive in attracting visiting faculty for a year or two who are mid-career, but only stay for a year or two. And then we have some senior faculty who are coming here, maybe who've had tenure at other places, but wanted a change of venue and want to try something more experimental. Where tenure would help would be attracting those faculty who are sort of young associate professors who are willing to commit their whole career to being here.
Okay.
And I think so many other things are going on that we're not focusing on that now, but it will come up.
All right, that's great. The position of the provost, it was the position of vice chancellor for academic affairs was eliminated, and there have been these questions. How does this change the administration? Yes.
Well, for one thing, the position of provost subsumes, it includes all the duties that the vice chancellor for academic affairs had. But what the provost does is, number one, provide a clear chain of command. With the time I've been spending in fundraising, I've been off campus a lot.
All right.
And that is probably going to remain the same or might even increase. I mean, one of my responsibilities is really to build the endowment for AUS. Just to give you an example, I think between January 1st and February 22nd, my wife noted that I had been home for dinner 9 times. And that in that period, if we include the end of February, I had visited 7 different countries. So we need somebody at AUS who's going to be, clearly the number 2 in command. The second thing is that the changes that we're talking about are going to require expertise in academic budgeting. And traditionally, the provost has a much stronger role in budgeting than a vice chancellor for academic affairs.
All right, that's great. So changes in the administration also helping AUS move forward.
Well, there are going to be 2 vice provosts as well, and one will focus on research and graduate studies and work on developing the support needed to help faculty gain research grants. And the second will focus on undergraduate curriculum.
Oh, okay.
And how to use innovation and look at our curriculum from a holistic point of view and saying, are our graduates graduating with the skills that we need them to have?
And will these positions be filled next semester?
That we're searching for them now, and so we hope that that at least one of them will be filled by fall, and the other one by the end of next year.
All right. I know Landor Branding is now working very closely with AUS. What is the intention behind working with Landor for AUS?
Well, AUS has a wonderful story to tell, and it has that story to tell almost every day. What a branding company does is to think about how best to get the messages out that reflect what is really going on in AUS. How that differs from, a media unit is that a media unit will look around and see something that happens, like Global Day, and then we'll send out a press release, or we'll invite the press to come to Global Day. So it's very reactive to what goes on in the university. A branding initiative or a communications and marketing way of thinking about this is that we know that we want to project certain messages about what's going on in AUS. And we are going to make sure that those elements of what's going on actually get out there. So it's more, marketing is a more focused way of getting the message out.
Okay, that's in terms of marketing. Do they have any other specific plans for AUS to bring it up in terms of its image and reputation?
Well, we're working on a new web page for the university.
All right.
And we'll be working on using the new technology, new social interactive technology to get the word out more. There'll be a chat section on the web page. And we're also looking at sort of how we present ourselves to the world. So one of the things that they do is they look at core segments of the community and say, okay, from the point of time where a student comes into AUS until they leave, what are their, besides the academics, which they're not going to get involved in, but what are their experiences? Are they running around from office to office trying to register?
Okay.
So all these points where the process can be improved and made more comfortable is something they're going to look at.
Okay.
And then they look at alumni from the same perspective. They look at parents from the same perspective. So it's really how to mold the experience, help us mold the experience in ways that is more cohesive rather than just piecemeal.
All right.
So if you think of all your bad experiences, we're going to eliminate the bad experiences and improve the good experiences.
All right, that's great. What, in your opinion, what relationship does AUS have with the international community?
I think it has a growing one. Again, we haven't done enough to get the word out that we are here and that we are an important institution that the world community should pay attention to. So we're, again, doing this in different ways. We've established an office for study abroad to bring students here, but also to get our students out to talk about their experiences. With the growth in research, we will have increasing number of conferences and seminars and so forth. And this will bring international scholars here. And I would say every time we get a guest who's from another university, they're just amazed by this campus and the students and so forth. And then we'll be working, I think, expanding our relationships with the private sector and public sectors as well, both regionally, locally, and internationally.
All right, that's great. I know AUS was rated #1, one of the best universities in UAE, so that's a great achievement.
Well, it's not only this rating, because I think we were up there with Nestle's in this particular.
That's true too.
But when I go around and talk to my peers at other universities, the provosts, the chancellors, the vice chancellors, and so forth, they also say you're lucky to be at the best university in the UAE. So they recognize it as well. And from what I have seen at this point, we are the most, I think we have the greatest span of resources, the best students, and a very strong faculty. So my job is to make sure we stay the best.
Another interesting thing is Snapshots. We love the idea. You're being more accessible to the students. Where did the idea come from?
Well, it actually came from the Board of Trustees. They
okay.
did a review of me, and they said that ironically, the faculty, talking to me, the faculty know you very well. And I had made great efforts to go around and talk to each department, both last year and this year.
Okay.
So that the faculty felt that there was at least some connection. But the students and the staff didn't really know who you were or what you did. Now, I must admit that when I went to college, I didn't know who the president was or what he did either, and didn't think much about it. But they suggested that if I would have something like Snapshots, a periodic update for the community, that it would be a way for students and others to know what exactly a chancellor does.
And how he does it,
Yeah.
which is great.
Well, you know, sometimes I don't know what I do. When I go back at the end of the day, I just know that it's been busy.
How regularly will you be writing these out?
Once a month, about.
Okay.
I'll probably take a pause over the summer because not many people will be here, but at least once a month. And it's a way of, I think, of keeping everybody somewhat up to date with ongoing projects like the technology park or the webpage or whatever is going on.
Another thing we like is you have your views on all these student activities that go on. We had Global Day, which was great.
Yes.
Any of your favorite memorable performances from the event?
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go there. I mean, each one is very impressive. What I noticed is that compared to last year, some of the strong performances last year were a bit weaker, and some of the weaker performances were a bit stronger. I think that the aspect of Global Day I like best is when I see one or two students in a number of different groups, because that really shows that Global Day is serving its purpose. It's not only representing you know, national dances and cultures and so forth, but it's also allowing students to experience other ones.
Yeah, true, to celebrate the truly global
But to get me to say which one I like best,
well, I tried. What do you want AUS to stand for in the next few years?
I think, you know, it's really important for me to that it stand for two things. One is the quality of the experience, the academic and social experience that our students can have. I mean, no matter how much we get into research or development or graduate teaching, the undergraduate experience is the place where we have 4 years to provide a fantastic experience for students at a time in their lives when they can really benefit from all these kinds of experiences that will provide resources that they can use for the next stage in their life. So that's one thing. And then I would hope that the same students, when they become alumni, they're already recognized for particular characteristics of being active, taking initiative, being good communicators. And I hope that this model progresses in time so that they become leaders in the community.
Okay.
And so I think, you know, our best way to evaluate ourselves is not the rankings that may come and go, but actually the quality of the experience we provide and the quality of the graduates that we provide to society.
There's another question that's really important, especially when it comes to the MCM department. All of us are very keen to know. We had an accreditation board that came in and reviewed the department, and they submitted a report. Do you know what suggestions did they make?
Well, they had a couple of suggestions. One was that the faculty should think carefully about what the market needs really are and ask the question, do their programs really reflect what the market needs clearly are? And is faculty configuration aligned with these needs? For example, journalism is an area that they at least questioned the future of. It's going to exist in some form, certainly, but it's uncertain what the form is. And that was the second thing that the faculty, they wanted the faculty to think about, which was where would all of these programs that constitute the current MCM, where would they be in 5 or 10 years? And are we really training students or organizing the coursework so that we are training students to meet the challenges of the next 5 or 10 years? And the third thing they wanted the university to think about is whether we are supplying enough resources, both in terms of the technical resources of a studio like this, but more importantly, the human resources in terms of faculty strength and faculty expertise. So they left us with a lot of questions, and you know, MCM is I think, a very important program that has very strong potential and fantastic possibilities for the future. But it's going to take a while, I think, for us to find out the answers. And it's difficult for faculty in such a time of transition to really answer the second question, like where will the fields be in 10 years, and how are we going to configure ourselves so that we're on the cutting edge. So we'll be looking at this, and the new dean will certainly be working hard on these questions.
In terms of the suggestions they made, are there a few aspects that we're keeping in mind that we can change immediately so that we can strengthen the program?
Well, one thing is we're bringing a new head of the department, because the department hasn't had stable leadership for a number of years, and this is one reason why faculty have been unable to really focus on these kinds of questions. You need a kind of settled leadership in the organization to really guide the conversation. So that we're doing immediately. And then what I will do as Chancellor, and I think both the Provost and the new Dean, will be to both listen carefully to what faculty are saying, and as necessary bring in additional external experts to help faculty think through these issues.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So in some ways it was the beginning of a conversation rather than the end of a conversation in terms of the accreditation.
All right, another concern with the MCM department is they always feel that there's unbalanced funding that goes around on campus. They feel that CAD is constantly renovating, and they always have upgraded technology. The physics building, which is mainly under the international relations, they don't have printing labs. The MCM department has been using equipment since a while now, the same equipment for a couple of years. Will we be expecting soon new changes or new?
There'll be changes, because what is going to happen is that in another year, the business building will be completed by fall 2011. And this is going to cause a reconfiguration of space and renovation within CAS itself. And so what is going on now is discussions of which unit goes where, but we want to have MCM in one place that, at least in terms of the faculty and their main resources, and that would be the time that we would update the equipment as well.
But before we leave, what's the next big thing on our agenda?
Oh my goodness. For me, it will be continuing all of these projects, but also I think that the faculty are going to have to look at some of their governance issues and how the Senate functions and so forth. So it's not very exciting for students, but it's going to take some time, because many of our bylaws are 10 or 12 years old, and we're suited for a school of 300 students and 40 faculty members.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Chancellor Peter Heath answering a few questions about what lies ahead of AUS. Thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you soon again.